Hello everyone, my name is Samantha Trevino, and for this Least We Forget project, I chose Whitney Houston as my controversial figure. I picked Whitney because I've always loved her music. She was an amazing singer with a powerful voice. Her life was full of struggles that many people still talk about today, and pictured on the slide is the biography I chose, which is Remembering Whitney, My Story of Love, Lost in the Night the Music Stopped, written by her mother, Cissy Houston. This book gives a close look at Whitney's life from someone who knew her best, which was her mother. It shows both the good and the hard parts of her journey. I chose this book because it helps me understand who Whitney really was beyond the fame. It also shows how the fame, pressure, and personal struggles made her story both inspiring and heartbreaking. And throughout my presentation, I will include quotes on the slides that I got from the biography, which is pictured on this slide, and I will be moving on to the next slide, which is background. Whitney Houston's background. Whitney Houston was born on August 9, 1963, in Newark, New Jersey. She was the daughter of John Russell and Cissy Houston. Whitney grew up singing at her church, where her mom was the choir minister. She learned a lot about music from her family and going to church. Before becoming famous, Whitney worked as a backup singer for artists like Chaka Khan. Her strong voice and talent helped her get noticed by big music producers. Soon she signed a record deal and began her journey. Her rise to fame was fast, and she quickly became one of the best-selling female artists of all time. And pictured in the slide is a picture of her family, or her parents, John Russell and Cissy Houston, and a picture of Newark, New Jersey on a map. Moving on to the next slide, key events in Whitney Houston's life. Whitney Houston married singer Bobby Brown in July 1992 after they met at an award show. The relationship was often in the spotlight and had many ups and downs. On March 4th, 1993, they had a daughter named Bobby Christina Brown, who became the center of Whitney's world. Whitney's career took off when she released her first #1 hit, Saving All My Love for You, which showed her beautiful voice. In 1986, she won her first Grammy for this song, marking a huge achievement in her career. Whitney went on to win many more awards and became one of the most famous and successful singers ever. She was known for her powerful voice and ability to connect with people through her music. The quotes I showed on the slide, which the first quote shows how Whitney Houston explains how Nippy met Bobby in the biography. The 1989 Soul Train Awards show was significant for Nippy, for more than just the booing. That was also the evening she met Bobby Brown. The second quote, which shows how when their daughter was born, she became the center of Whitney's world. And the second quote is, she went into labor on March 4th, 1993, and I went to St. Barnabas Medical Center in Livingston, New Jersey to be with her. Explains how Cissy's experience when Whitney gave birth to Bobby Christina Brown, and how that day changed the world for Whitney, and how her becoming a mother meant so much. Whitney Houston's shortcomings. Whitney Houston struggled with addiction for many years. Her drug use began to affect her music, her voice, health, and ability to perform. She often missed concerts, had trouble recording music, and her once strong career started to fall apart. I did not show this quote on the slide, but this quote from the book, a lot of people think she died before her time, shows how addiction changed Whitney and changed her personality to who changed her for the worse and not who she truly was. Her marriage to Bobby Brown also faced many problems, including reports of fighting, drug use, and other serious issues. These challenges took a big toll on her personal life and made it harder for her to recover and return to music. From the book, it really explained how much love Whitney had for Bobby. For example, how Cissy explains, I really don't think there's anything Nippy wouldn't have done for Bobby. She spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep him out of jail on his DUI charges. Even after all the trouble they'd been through, Whitney stood for her husband. And despite her talent and fame, addiction continued to follow her throughout her life, which cost her her death. How we should remember Whitney Houston. Whitney had a voice that amazed people all over the world and inspired them. She could sing with a great power and emotion. Many African American artists looked up to her and were inspired by her success. She broke many records and won lots of big awards in her career. Whitney was one of the best-selling music artists of all time. She was just not a singer. Whitney was also a model, actress, and producer. Whitney's loss hurt many people, but her impact inspired many people as well. 4 fun facts about Whitney. Number 1, Whitney Houston's name was Nippy. Number 2, she had 2 older brothers, Gary and Michael. Whitney was mainly close with Gary because they were only 2 years apart, so they spent a lot of time together. A quote I found in the book from Sissy: "I already had 2 boys, my sons Gary and Michael, and I knew this would be my last child." This quote experiences Sissy's reaction to finding out she was pregnant with a girl. The 3rd fact is she had 7 number 1 songs in a row, which was a big record. Until this day, nobody has broken this record. And the last fact, Whitney wanted to become a teacher. When she was young, she would play teacher with her brothers, but unfortunately she had trouble in school with bullies and fighting. However, this did not stop her from being smart, but she did not follow this path of being a teacher, of course, because her fame in music. This is my works cited page, and I got all of my main information from the book or biography I chose, but the 2 websites I used is Learning English, and the article was Remembering Whitney Houston, and then the next a website I used is biography.com, and the article was Whitney Houston. And yes, this is my works cited page, and then the 3rd link is the book. But I had my own copy of the book, but that was just online to have my works cited. Lastly, I just want to say thank you for staying and watching my Least We Forget project. I really enjoyed choosing Whitney Houston, and I think she is a huge inspiration. And the biography I chose is Remembering Whitney, My Story of Love, Loss, and the Night the Music Stopped, written by her mother, Sissy Houston, and it was a great help. Thank you. Your glory, the bad things